Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Tarson and IdrA here in the Xelnaga Caverns. Here we have Tarson spawning as the blue Terran player. Meanwhile, we have IdrA, who is, I guess, borrowing MYM Sunny's account, playing as the red Zerg. So this is going to be Tarson versus IdrA here on the Xelnaga Caverns. This is part of the IEM 5, I believe, and this is going to be a best of 5 series. I will try to cast all 5 if all 5 games are necessary. I did cast a series of games between Tarson and Madfrog, and Tarson had taken all 3 of those games pretty easily. Really interesting use of Ghosts, really interesting use of Reapers, and we'll see if Tarson will be able to continue that streak, as Madfrog is one of the better Zerg players in the European realm. IdrA also not too shabby as well, so we'll see how he does over here. So currently Hatchery now throwing down an Overlord and getting that quick 12 over 18, 13 over 18 food. Back over here, Tarson now sitting at 11 of 11, will be getting a barracks in just a moment. And yeah, gonna go ahead and just continue to train up more SCVs, most likely gonna be a 12 racks, throwing down right over here in just a moment. There we go, there's that nice 12 racks, as it's gonna go ahead, most likely train up Marine. Now, on the Xelnaga Caverns, it is a pretty interesting matchup, and I'm really curious to see how IdrA deals with this really exposed expansion over here. There are 2 very large ways to get in, along with a backdoor way with this brush, and then another way with destructible rocks. So this expansion is very difficult for a Zerg player to deal with and try to protect. We do see an early scout now coming out using this drone, or not an early scout, just a scout now coming out with this drone. So the drone wants to go in and get a sight of the base, as these 2 overlords most likely going to sit in this position and perhaps into this position as well. So it should be fairly interesting. We do see an SCV now coming in from Tarson. So Tarson now doing some scouting and moving out. We will see what exactly the strategies are going to be. So Sunny now going to go ahead and get the spawning pool. The spawning pool was laid down before the extractor, so it looks like we may be able to get a close to 100 gas right as that spawning pool will be completed. Yeah, already at 80, so just gonna take a couple more seconds there. Back over here, we now see a drone now moving around, and it's gonna grow up to be a hatchery just to annoy Tarson. So Tarson will not be able to get down this second extractor, and because he does not have a Marauder, this extractor should be able to grow up a couple times, cancel it at the last moment, and then continue to grow back up. We do see an SCV now moving away as the metabolic boost now being researched. Production wise, we do see a Queen. Zerglings now moving out, and now this extractor, oh, it did not get canceled, so this extractor now staying here will stay there for quite some time, just denying that gas. And the building does naturally have 1 armor, so these Marines are only able to deal 5 damage per 0.86 units, or per 0.86 game seconds of time. Down over here, 1 SCV now taken out, as we already have the hatchery coming in. So this was probably around an 18 or probably a 19 or 20 hatchery. So Sunny looking into the base, knowing that there isn't going to be too much harassment. We do see, however, a factory and also a barracks throwing down a reactor. What that's going to happen is a Hellion most likely will be doubly trained out of that reactor once we have this swap over here. Back over here, we are only sitting at 1 base and a second Queen now being placed down. I'm surprised there isn't a creep tumor just quite yet. Creep tumors are very important for the Zerg army. What they allow the Zerg player to do is just keep these Queens alive much more easily. Zerglings now moving out across the map. Queen now dropping that creep tumor. There it is, as a second Queen spawning over here. That Queen will be making the slow walk off of creep over to this hatchery. This Queen should be able to get enough energy by or be close to enough energy by the time that this hatchery completes. Probably going to be a little bit shy, as now we already see 2 Hellions moving out. So double training Hellions, 2 more Hellions on the way. In comes this hatchery, and now a Queen should be able to come in and now spawn larva. There are some Zerglings over here, but the creep is not spread out enough to really be able to do anything yet. However, those Hellions are not moving out by Tarson, so Tarson does not feel like harassing with those Hellions just quite yet. Tarson does not know about this Overlord sitting in the back of the base either, so we may see a tech into Nidus Canal, or Nidus Worms. Nidus Worms are a very strong way to move units around the map for the Zerg player, as now we have 4 Hellions moving in. So with those 4 Hellions, it should be interesting to see what exactly IdrA is going to do. And those Hellions quickly toasting 4 Zerglings there. Queen now coming over, trying to get in a couple quick hits. Hellions trying to do some pressure as well. That Queen now being forced to pull back. A second Queen now coming in as well. And this Queen very low on hit points. With the Spine Crawler in play, will finally be able to will finally be able to pull back. So that queen barely saved just in a right amount of time. Back over here, now continuing to spawn those creep tumors. One hatchery now growing up to be a spire. One queen now going to try to position itself over here. Zerglings, a queen able to get off a couple quick shots, but one queen down to 27 hit points, 5 hit points. And now more Zerglings getting toasted here, so those Hellions just doing a great job taking down all of these Zerglings here. There is one queen sitting over here, and one queen just trying to hide, trying to run away. That one queen down it goes, and burned to a crisp as these Hellions continue to do more and more harassment. Still, this one spine crawler will be able to help protect these units over here, and we should probably see another queen now being produced. Yeah, another queen being trained up over here at the lair, as we also have a spire coming in here. So Zerglings trying to hold on to this high ground. We do see an overlord here and a lot of Hellions. Production-wise, marauders and more units coming in. And now in comes a couple quick hits, drones trying to run away, and now in comes these Hellions, a lot of Hellions, and now a quick surround on one of those Hellions, and down it goes. So Zerglings doing a great job trying to get a surround, making sure that that splash line of fire does not really come into effect. Back over here, the spire nearing completion, and as soon as that spire goes up, we should probably see 2 or 3, perhaps even 4 Mutalisks come into play. One spine crawler moving, so it kind of protects this front door as well. And now this queen, and now perhaps moving a little bit too far, needs to pull back, as the Hellions may be able to get too much damage there. So that spine crawler right there, we do see another queen over here. So really great job so far. IdrA able to just stay within his base, and now Tarson doing a great job over here to the north, also taking up an additional expansion. Production-wise and harvester-wise, we see 12, 13, 80 versus 820 as these Hellions just continue to try to produce, and now the Terran player just looks to be in such a dominant position. However, these Zerglings may be able to get off a couple of quick hits over here, and now with those Mutalisks in the air, those Hellions are done for. So Mutalisks, 3 Mutalisks in the air, and 4 Mutalisks in the air, those Hellions will be forced to retreat. Down goes, one of those Hellions should be able to get taken down. No, Sunny not chasing as more Hellions coming in, and it looks as though Tarson really over-invested into this Hellion army. He is still producing more and more Hellions, and now with 4 Mutalisks in play and one versus 1 Thor, I'm not sure who will be able to win this fight. And now coming back over here, we do see those Thors able to get off some splash damage there. Marines now coming in as well. 5 Mutalisks trying to clean up the rest over here. We do see an engineering bay, but there's not going to be missile turrets for quite some time. Now going after some of those SCVs, and now Sunny is going to be, IdrA is going to be able to deal significant damage as Tarson's being forced to pull back. Back over here, however, Hellions may be able to try to do one last push. There is 2 Mutalisks over here, so those Mutalisks are going to go ahead and regroup. We do have those Thors now moving out. Thors want to try to repair some of those units, and now Mutalisks going to be able to finish up and clean off this army very easily. Those that Marauder, very slow moving unit without stim, and those Mutalisks now giving chase once again. Those Hellions able to move at a movement speed of 4.25, so moving faster than those Mutalisks, so Mutalisks will not be able to chase. We do have a hatchery, and most likely going to be placed down over here. Zerglings now making their way to try to take down these destructible rocks, as we also have missile turrets being placed down by Tarson. So Tarson now playing into a more macro style of play, going to try to trying to hold up in his bases, and perhaps not allow Sun or IdrA to really be able to deal any significant damage. In comes these units here. Down goes that SCV, but now a Thor and that missile turret was able to complete just in time, a fraction of a second too late. A lot of Hellions in the middle of the map here, so Hellions and Thors versus Mutalisks and Zerglings, and really IdrA should probably be in a little bit behind at this stage in the game. The unit combinations do not look good. For IdrA also having the Zerg flyer attack and Mutalisks. Terran player now producing more factories as well, so Tarson going into a very heavy mech strategy. Does not have the Infernal Pre-Igniter research though, so a little bit curious about that. When you have so many Hellions, he's probably trained over a dozen Hellions at this stage in the game, and not have the Infernal Pre-Igniter research, and those Hellions will get taken down much more easily. That's a bonus damage of 10, allowing Hellions to be able to get 2 shots to kill a Zergling. However, I do like this armor upgrade for these mech units, just because Zerg players generally have a lot of small units that deal small damage, 9 damage, 10 damage very rapidly. Hellions now with an armor plating of 1, and Thors with an armor plating of 2, along with those siege tanks, will be able to take a lot more damage from Zerglings, and then those Hellions will be able to splash back and perhaps kill it back. We do have the Infernal Pre-Igniter research finally being upgraded. Taking a look at the harvester count, things are mining rate is about the same, but we do see IdrA sitting at a 55 harvester count, so a significant advantage. We also see over a dozen Mutalisks sitting over here, so these Mutalisks may be able to push in and perhaps try to get some damage over here. There is only one missile turret and one Zergling trying to fight back and take down that one Hellion. Hellion getting that quick kill over there. Mutalisks just still hiding over here as the production still training more Mutalisks, getting more queens, and getting 2 extractors over here. So more Mutalisks coming in over here and here. So we have almost two full control roles sitting on 19 Mutalisks now. So once all these Mutalisks gather up together, and they now have the level 1 weapon attack upgrade, so those Mutalisks are going to be able to attack and deal a lot of damage with that splash glaive worms as well. Hellion's now moving out, but really Tarson should not have let IdrA get this additional base. This is going to be very, very bad, as the harvester count is going to start to go in favor of IdrA. Back over here, Mutalisk quickly taking down that last Hellion over here, and now we should see Tarson trying to train up even more Thors. Thors are going to be absolutely critical. Production-wise, I do not see any weapons upgrade, and I'm not quite sure why we do not see a weapons upgrade on those Thors. Thors really need those weapon upgrades. They deal an additional +8 damage. Oh, there we go. Already has the weapons upgrade, so probably should be getting the level 2 weapons upgrade in just a moment, as each level, each attack gives +8 damage. Because it's +1 versus light and +1 base. Tarson, however, now getting a lot of missile turrets over here, and in come these Mutalisks. Mutalisks, however, do not want to try to engage. There are a lot of Thors. Now all these units trying to push in over here, and now this large group of Mutalisks sitting here, and 4 more Mutalisks still being produced, sitting on now 28 Mutalisks. So 28 Mutalisks should be able to deal a lot of damage. We do see these destructible rocks getting taken down. Very, very smart for IdrA to take an additional base. If the Terran player is trying to take up a 3rd base, you really want to try to keep up. Already Sunny has this expansion as well, and now in come these Mutalisks. No Mutalisks now coming in, as we have a large army of Thors pushing in over here. Another scanner sweep going to reveal all of these creep tumors, but wow, just so many, 4 control rows, 32 Mutalisks, and these 32 Mutalisks, even though there are a decent number of Thors, may just take too much damage. Back over here, are these Mutalisks gonna, yeah, they're just gonna run in and take down, using that magic box technique, gonna go ahead and just fly on top of those Thors, and these Thors are just gonna get simply destroyed here. All these Thors now taken down. Hellions, however, were able to take down this expansion, but the main army sizes, without those Thors, there is no more anti-air, and this whole entire army of Hellions, siege tanks, and marauders is just gonna get destroyed. So you're gonna see all of a sudden a switch in the army sizes, as units of Tarson gonna get slowly taken down over here. Now Mutalisks once again gonna go ahead and re-engage. There is 2 more Thors in. 2 more Thors gonna try to push out and perhaps able to deal more damage. Once again, using the magic box technique, just attacking on top. Now gonna go ahead and focus down those Thors, since there's not too many. And now after taking down this missile turret, things are not looking good. Tarson now definitely in trouble at this stage in the game, because these Mutalisks are in the air, will be able to take down this orbital command. A missile turret's a little bit too far away, and the army size is at 1,300 versus the army of Sunny, which is at 2,950. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Tarson and IdrA here in the Xelnaga Caverns.